Well, hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Nice to be here. Let's see if I can get everything working. Oh my, I was just looking at them uh, the other day, the pantalensis. Let's see. Can you all hear me? Enjoy the quarries, Dennis. Sounds like fun. Urban gardener, get you a wrench, Randall Allen. We got a few people here who need to be Nathan Breeze need to be brought into the inner team here. Max and Cheese. This bunch of new people. Cornelius. Hello, Cornelius. I'm giving all you wrenches. Mike Allen. It's a 3-click process. Takes me a minute. Robin, welcome, Robin. Good to see you. Brielle Elise. Hello, Brielle. Goodness, we're near 100 people already. This is exploding. Brielle, did I get you a wrench? I did. All right, let's see if where are we? I think we're good. Nathan Priest, Pac-Man. 200 by Chris's. That'd be pushing it. Max and Cheese. Hello, everyone. New long-time watcher, first-time streamer. Team Tetra. 20 tets and a 200 liter. 1 Brussels longfin. 2 snails. Good man. You got a food web in there, those tetras will start having babies. Ravenous Guru. Good morning, good morning. From Australia. Nice to have the Aussies with us. Joseph, I feel bad for people that feel bad for fish habitats. Fish don't have feelings. Yeah, amen to that, Joseph. I don't know. I don't, you know, it's a strange thing. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment of people who love their fish and who have an attachment to them. I don't think I do. Having a shop kind of burns it out of you because number one, you don't get to keep anything, no matter how cool it is. And at least that was my policy. And number two, stuff dies fairly routinely. And so you get over the emotional attachment. Beyond that, treating fish as though they are people, as though they have feelings and ideas, and as though they experience the world in a similar way to mammals, if you will, I think does ultimately, well, while I appreciate the sentiment, it is not a guide for proper and appropriate care. Feeding a fish because you need to eat 2 or 3 times a day, feeding that fish 2 or 3 times a day, simply is not appropriate. Primarily, not because the fish won't eat it, they will. They'll eat nonstop, pretty much, if you can set up a tank to permit such a thing. The problem is you're not paying attention. If you think of fish the way you think of people or animals, like mammals, then you're not understanding very much about the nature of fish because they're utterly unique, thoroughly and completely unique from any kind of, really, from any kind of land animal. They're unique from any kind of bird. They're unique from any kind of insect, even. Unique from all manner of herps and reptiles. Fish are I think the largest genera on Earth and easily the most unique, with the widest range of attributes. The joy for me in keeping fish is learning about them, learning about their uniqueness and what it takes for them to thrive. Now, I've been on a mission for the last number of years to try to develop, in effect, a universal aquarium. And that's, I think, in large measure what the dirted tank is. It's a universal aquarium. Now, I've done this primarily to create a viable, simple option for new fish keepers or for relatively inexperienced fish keepers. It strikes me, however, that the deeper you go into uh, a given variety of fish, one that may, for example, require a very low pH or very cool temperatures, you can find ways to adjust this system to meet those requirements. Well, that's very different, it seems to me, from those who insist that gravel is an absolutely perfect and appropriate substrate for any and all aquariums. The reality is it simply is not. And the reason is it's utterly and completely unnatural. It does not provide any kind of opportunity for the tank to become genuinely balanced. And so it requires continuous cleaning, continuous purging, continuous water changes. In other words, it is an imbalanced system on the verge of crashing all the time. That's not anything like a balanced aquarium. Now, you can do that, you can get away with it, you can be successful keeping fish that way. And plenty of people do. There are people who learn, who discipline themselves to be able to provide adequate maintenance in order to maintain that system. I just wonder why. I really wonder why. For one thing, it really limits the number of tanks you can have. I mean, I maintained approximately 400 tanks when I had my shop. Now, granted, a lot of them were on central systems, but they were all also, in effect, standalone tanks. The water changes that occurred were very, very minimal. Once every few weeks, I would add water to the sump in order to cover water that was going out, that splashed, that evaporated, whatever. That maybe represented 2 or 3% of the total volume. Also, the flow in each of those tanks was not substantial. They didn't turn over more than once every few days. And of course, they were turning over with water from essentially the next tank over, or at least another tank from all of the tanks combined. So the long and the short of that is that I really ran them as standalone tanks. They were all deep substrate, every one of them. They were all planted, every one of them. I did have a few, I had a number of systems. It was not just one system, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. At least 8 systems, probably more. If you count some of the small standalones, it was probably more like 10 systems. Some of the tanks were very large, like the 500-gallon. That was a standalone tank. Um, but all of them were run really as as if they were standalone tanks. And I never did a water change in any of them. Never did. Not in the 15 years I had the store set up. Not once. There were minor water changes going on fairly routinely because it was a central system. And I guess that compensated for the need to do that. I do not believe that it is an altogether good thing to never do a water change. Now that may surprise some of you. I also don't believe that routine water changes are desirable. I think they stress the fish. But there comes a time, this tank is a perfect example. This tank has kind of reached capacity in terms of the life it's able to maintain. I've got upwards of 100 fish in here. Granted, many of them are very tiny, including a lot of shrimp and snails. And I've noticed that after 3 or 4 months, the water begins getting, I don't want to call it murky because it's not murky, old looking, yellow looking. Now, I don't like yellow water. I don't see it as tannin water. I see it as water that's loaded with too much organic. And I try to set the tanks up in such a way that the organics are kept to a minimum. But in a tank like this, it's almost impossible. So I've realized that every 3 to 4 months I do about a 10 to 15% water change. And that keeps it going, keeps it stable. It's a little cloudy right now. This week I ripped out all of the Vallisneria and replanted it with stem and rooted plants. Now you can tell I'm not an aquascaper. There's nothing about this that's aesthetic. It is not proportioned in any particular way. I've just kind of jammed things in where there's an open spot without much sense of what's going where. I do try to clump species more or less together, but I'm not 100% with that. I've got probably 25 species of plant in here, which is the other issue. I have such a variety. And I really like that. I like that variety. I would not be happy with 2 or 3 species of plant. Mainly because I'm really interested in the plants and in how they grow and what they're doing, particularly stem plants that tend to want to grow out of the tank. I can't lift this up very well. There's a little bit of, I don't think you can see it. There's a plant coming up down there, a couple of them. The stem plants tend to want to come up out of the water. Now I keep my tanks covered to reduce evaporation. And I keep them pretty full, so I don't really have room for the stem plants to immerse. I don't have room for potted plants like pathos to be able to grow immersed. It's one of the drawbacks of the way I keep tanks. I did have a system at one point that had a tank sitting on top of a tank with the front of it. I had sliding doors in the front and light above it. So that allowed plants to grow up. It also allowed me to get some hardscape up above the water level. And that was kind of neat. I probably ought to do something like that here, particularly with my plants up there. They would really enjoy that. I could set a 55 on top of this, knock the front out, put something in the front that would close it, but that I could have easy access to. It's tricky to do, so I haven't done it. Anyway, let's see what's in the chat here. Max and Cheese is new, long time watcher. Did we? First time stream watcher. Yeah, we just talked about that. Let's see. The Brian Albanese, first live here, just returned from the lake to fill my resurrection jar. Nice job. I need to get to a lake. I've been collecting in streams and creeks and little ditches and ponds, and I'm not getting the macrofauna that I would like. and some of my customers are complaining about it. I need to find some ponds I can get to that have a better macrofauna population so I can be growing that out. James Green. Silver Creek is here. Hello, Silver Creek. Blended to powder bug bites or Hikari first bites. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Nice product, Silver Creek. Ooh, goodness. Where's my water? Really, Tito says, stop watching cartoons. Yeah, good point. Teodal. Thank you, Teodal, for your 9.99 super sticker. It's very generous and very kind of you. Thank you very much. Let's see, we got 150 people here. My word. I do want to make an announcement. When we hit 100,000, now since Joey was with me, we have not done anything like giveaways or prizes or any such thing. But on the Sunday evening that we hit 100K, I'm going to give away 10 stem plant packages. That's a $60 gift plus $10 shipping. A $69 gift to 10 different people. I should do more. I should do enough to get it to 100. What would that be? That would be another 30. Another 30K. Wait a minute. 10K. 69, 10K, another 30. That would be another 4, 5. Okay, so that'd be 15. 15. We'll do that. We'll do a 100K giveaway for 100K. It won't be 100K. It'll be actually 10K. A 10K giveaway for 100K subscribers. Don't know how we'll do it yet. The simplest way is numbers, but that gets complicated. I'll figure it out. I may just do some kind of random selection. How many did I say now? That's 15. 15? 15 giveaways on the Sunday that we hit 100K. That's probably going to be in about 2 weeks. We're running 3,000 to 4,000 a week right now. So might be 3 weeks, might be closer to Thanksgiving. I'll talk to Brenda about that. We'll get it set up. What I will need in order for it to work, I will need the winners. Haha. I will need the winners to enter the store, the Fatherfish Aquarium store, and how to do this. Probably donate $5. That's the cheapest way you can get in. It allows me to capture your address, your shipping information, your email and phone number. I can always return it or do a little bonus with it. Let me think about that, but that would be a way That would be a way to do this. I don't know that I could afford to give it to everyone. That would be nice, but a hundred would probably, that would wipe me out. That would be, that would be about 5 grand or better. Yeah, about that. Let me, I'm going to think about this, but we're going to do a giveaway. And we will do it on the Sunday that we get 100K subscribers. And we'll figure out a way to do it that'll benefit the most people possible. Let's just try to do it that way. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. I've missed a whole bunch of comments here. DV is here. Hello, DV. Josh Jones setting up a natural saltwater water rock sand gathered from the Pacific. Perfect. Saw a couple of videos. Yeah, if you can get to a tidal pool, that will give you everything you need. It'll give you the substrate, the hardscape, the animal life, really everything you need to make that work. Erie is here. Hello, Erie. Billy Clayton, first time. I have no tank, but I really need one. We need to get Billy a tank. Tell you what, Billy, get a free tank. Don't pay a penny for it. Find a tank. Get a tank from somebody who needs to get rid of it. Find something on the side of the road. Get a free tank. And then join Discord and we'll teach you how to set it up. So you will have 100% free tank. 10K. Yeah, that would be a bit much, Kyle. I don't think I could swing it. 100,000 giveaway. I know. I'd be paying for that all the way to 1 million. Amal Kawota TV. Can I ask it to you? You may indeed, Amal. Let me give you a wrench. Brandon, how do you keep water cold for a cold water fish like trout? It's a real problem and it's not simple to do. Um, I do have a way to do it though. Let me get Dennis up here. Thank you, Dennis, for grand prize dinner with Father Fish. Oh, there we go. That's a nice idea. That's a nice idea. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about, and I want to be able to do it at some point. I want to do meet and greets in different cities around the country, and if I get big enough around the world, kind of a father fish clash, father fish meet. I thought to do the first one in Baltimore because it's close to me, and there are a lot of fun people in Baltimore in the hobby. Max and cheese. Where missed that one? How did I do that? There it is. Max and cheese. $2 from New Zealand. Thank you, Max and cheese. Very nice. When you hit 100,000 and send me about 20,000 of them, Kidding, Father Chris. Silver Creek. Right. Max and cheese. Can you rate my aquarium? Oh my goodness. I don't know if I can show this. How can I show this? This is really, I don't know if I can. Um, it's interesting. Let me get the light on. It's a dark tank, isn't it? Because you've got a lot of plants up high. I'm gonna have to ask people to click on it. I'm running on two computers right now, so I can't switch between screens the way I would like. Maybe I can actually. There is a way to do this. Maybe we try it. Nice tank. I like your tank. Let me see if I can do that. Uh, there it is. Okay, I got it there. Now let's see if I can present. If I'll share screen. Open channel. That must be it. That's it. There it is. Nice. What can we say about this? This is clearly a well-established tank. I need to look at it on a bigger screen. I like your hardscape. It sort of reminds me of my tanks, which it is I call it clutter. It's definitely clutter. You do not have a wide variety of plants in there, but you got some pretty interesting stuff. What is that variegated leaf in the back that looks like a pathos? That's kind of interesting. You've got maybe baby tears in the top, a big clump of it growing you right under the light, air coming up, nice substrate. Yeah, really nice. I like the hardscape. I don't see fish. What kind of fish do you have in there? It looks like it's a tank that has a lot of stability to it. I really, really like it. Really do. Um, you need to post this on our Fatherfish Shoal. I think it would get a lot of interest. You could also do it as a short video. I think there'd be a lot of interest in it. Yeah, and it's one I would like to be able to use in a future video because it displays in a way that I personally appreciate. I like it. I like it very much. Thank you, Max and Cheese. We need to see more of that tank. Greg bought the plant package and everything's doing well. Wonderful. Beth says, how long should I let organic soil dirted tank with plants cycle? Added some biofilter solution. The cycle organic soil dirted tank with plants, it's already cycled. It is it is it is cycled day one. That is to say, there is there is a cycling going on. The longer it goes, the sturdier it becomes. But the tank is cycled or cycling day one. There's no such thing as a cycled tank. I did videos about this and it was confusing. The issue is that cycling is a process that goes on continuously. It starts and it expands. With a dirted substrate, it starts at a fairly substantial level. Substantial enough you can get fish in it immediately, plants in it immediately. In other words, it will sustain life from day one. So it, in that sense, is cycled. It is in fact cycling. So the longer it lives, the more cycling is going on. The stronger that cycle becomes, the deeper and richer it becomes. That's probably a better way to understand it. Josh Jones, I like your saltwater idea. And again, that's something we really need to see in the Fatherfish Shoal. Kyle, throw him in now. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right away. Do not need to wait at all. I put fish into a new dirted tank on day two. Only reason I don't do it on day one is because I want to make sure everything's working. I turn the pump on, I get a sponge filter going. I watch to make sure there are no leaks, that nothing weird is happening. By day two, if it's stable, it gets fish in it. Now, I don't load it up with fish on day one, but I do put a few in because that continues the cycling effect. It cycles that much more. It creates a wider range. I don't know how to say it exactly. Uh, it causes the cycling to become stronger and sturdier and more effective. It is if cycling, if you understand cycling as something more than simply changing ammonia to nitrites, because it's so much more than that, that's an infinitesimal part of what cycling really is. Cycling is not simply the nitrate cycle. That's an almost insignificant component of the cycling. Cycling is cycling is what balance is all about. It has to do with the organic load in the tank and how the organic load is processing, going from one kingdom to another and processing through all of the life forms, as well as all of the chemical bacteria forms in the system. So there's infinitely more to it than simply changing ammonia to nitrates. In point of fact, the kind of ammonia that gets created in an early tank is not toxic. It simply isn't. That's not what kills fish. What kills fish is the water becoming foul due to a lack of organics adequate to genuinely cycle the system. You see, it's not just a matter of dealing with ammonia, It's dealing with all of the material in there that dies. And stuff is dying every second of every minute of every day. Stuff is also being born every second of every minute of every day. That's part of the cycle. That's a dominant part of the cycle. And if you're not equipped, if your system is not equipped to cope with that mechanism, to create a mechanism to cope with it, then the tank is going to foul. That is to say, those animals that were dying, rather than be assimilated, they will simply cause an explosion of bacteria that will foul the water. And that's why new tanks go bad, because the system is not set up in a way that allows for this full organic cycling to occur. That's why dirt. That's why sand. That's why you don't change water every 15 minutes, because the water needs to develop adequate systems to be able to process the organics that are in it. If you're constantly changing it, then the water, which has memory, the memory is its components. If you're stripping it of those components, either through a chemical process or removing substantial amounts of it, then you're on the edge of chaos all the time. And there are fish keepers who keep large fish in big tanks who are on the edge of chaos all the time. That's why they're nervous. That's why they're like this. That's why they gotta do this and gotta do that and gotta do the other thing. Because if they don't, everything crashes and burns. It's a terrible way to have to keep your fish. It's a terrible way for the fish and a terrible way for you. Why in the world would anyone want to do such a thing? I think because they don't know better. And they've been sold a bill of goods that says there is no better way. And that bill of goods is what we're fighting here every day. It's why I have not moved on to talk about breeding, to talk about aquascaping, to do all of the wonderful and magical things that can happen in a fish tank, because the basic message of how to set up a simple basic tank so it doesn't kill everything but provides an opportunity, a real opportunity for life to thrive, is still in its infancy. So I'm going to still be beating that drum all the way to 1 million subscribers. And I believe that at 1 million subscribers, I will have won the war here on YouTube. Maybe not anywhere else, but here on YouTube. So hang in there, guys. What I'm doing, frankly, at this point, because I have so many new people coming into the channel asking questions that are real basic, that go all the way back to the beginning. So I'm resurrecting some of the classic old videos I've done, reworking them, providing some of the Quran magic, making them much more watchable and interesting, and publishing them as brand new videos. They're not brand new videos. A few people have caught on to that. I'm going to be doing more of that. I will also be doing new videos. So I'm not gonna. I mean, here's the reality, guys. I've done 1,500 videos. I think maybe more. At least 1,500 videos. Nobody has watched them all. And the reason I know that is because at least 500 of them are nearly 2 hours long. That's 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours. If you watched videos 40, 40 hours a week, it would take you a year at full-time job to watch father fish videos, and you still would not have seen them all. I've done that many. And I've only been at this, what, 3 years? Has it been 4 years? I lose track. Might be 4 years. Seems like three. Anyway, so there's all that. Yeah, where are we? Erie is donating his Mancunian leather chop. Good move, Erie. When you don't have to disturb your fish, you know you're doing it right. Right on, Silver Creek. That's really it. When these fish are not afraid of a net, then you know you're golden. Then you know you've got a tank that's stable and strong and healthy, and your fish are functioning in as normal a way as they can. One of the things I've noticed, I don't know if I can get away with it. Let's try it. I'm all tangled up here, par for the course. Let me untangle here a bit if I can. No, that's better. All right. These guys are so shy. Right down in front. There's two of them. Those are fundulus. It's the top minnow. Stupendous color on the males. And the females are every bit as glorious. We'll see a female in a minute. So rainbows. They're so shy. It's amazing. Look at that. The females have sparkles. A field of stars. There's a male. Gone. Zoom. And the bigger they get, the prettier they get. They'll get 4 to 5 inches. These are about not quite 2 inches, almost. So they get big. They're going to be just stunning. I hope I keep them alive long enough to do that. But if you'll notice, these fish are not darting around. They're swimming slowly. They're kind of deliberate. They have objectives. There's a little Formosa and a cardinal. Another cardinal. See what's up here? Pentel fish. That's a female. They'll come out. Maybe not. She's hiding back there. They're so shy. A pisto. There ought to be baby pistos in here, but I've yet to see them. I don't know where they. I don't know what's happening. And I think all of my pencil fish are females. They all seem to be fat. don't see the females. We've got 2 or 3 females fundulus in here somewhere. They're hiding. The females don't have any of this color. None of the orange, little rainbows. That's a female right there, I think. Well, maybe not. I wonder where they are. That was a female back. Yeah, that's a female. There, she's just being super shy. There she is up there, coming out. Come on out. See if we can show off her sparkles. There she is. The camera is frightening her. That's funny. Little Formosa. Oh well. What else is in here? I got gobies in here somewhere. I almost never see them. They used to come out. They don't come out anymore. Maybe that's a good sign. I hope. I don't see them. Not a beautiful tank, but a tank that's just full of life. Anyway. Uh, Robin wants to know, should I feed my fish same time each day, or can I feed them anytime during the day? Good question. And that's really it's really up to you and up to what you want to see happening in your tank. If you feed them at odd times, then you're not going to get a trained behavior. At a given point in time, they're not going to all gather waiting for breakfast or dinner. If you feed in the morning one day and the evening next day, they're not going to be able to anticipate when it's coming. And so it'll come as a excuse me, as a surprise. No matter what you want to do. Oh, I got a bubble. See, we did Dennis, I think. God, we got so many comments in here, and I'm not keeping up with it at all. Lord, it goes on forever. Oh, Robin Beasley. Let's see. That's interesting. Val usually is the easiest plant to to take hold. Well, Val's a rooted plant. It should be. Personal opinion on buying spring water and filling up an aquarium with just that. Here's the problem with spring water. It has no carbonates in it, which means it is not capable of holding a stable pH. So unless you're adding carbonates to it, the pH is going to drop to 6.0 or less in a relatively short period of time. It's a function of the biological activity and how much carbonates, how much the organics are burning up what available carbonates there are and driving the pH down. If you're adding food, for example, that contains carbonates, then you're probably going to be okay because it'll maintain that balance. That's the only real issue is the lack of ability of spring water, rainwater, distilled water, RO water, that is say spring water, to be able to maintain a stable pH. And it may simply drop to 6.0 and stay there, which in and of itself is not a bad thing. There are a lot of plants that won't survive at 6.0, but most fish will. And it also is easier on bacteria. Bacteria doesn't survive as well at 6.0. I don't like soft acid water for a whole host of other reasons that have more to do with me than to do with the health of the tank. I like a lot of plants. I like a heavy organic foundation. It's hard to do that in soft acid water. I've had soft acid tanks. I've had black water tanks that had pH down to 5.0, and they were certainly interesting, but I found them very, very limiting. Limiting in terms of what I could put in there and what would thrive and do well. Curiously, one of the plants that did the best were the Aponogetans. And they're some of the most spectacularly beautiful plants there are. And the snails did not eat them. I had Spixie snails in there that ate everything else but not the Aponogeton, which is odd because Aponogeton is a very delicate leaf plant. But apparently it doesn't taste good to a snail. It uses rainwater for low pH tanks. Absolutely. I haven't maintained low pH tanks for a very, very long time. And I guess I really should. All of my tap water for the last 40 years has been hard water. You hear the parakeets? They're not parakeets, canaries. I have a pair of canaries here, and the female is sitting on an egg. One egg, she said. So we're kind of hoping that maybe she'll lay more. Love your videos. Water is near 7.5 to 8.0. KH is always 0. What can I do to fix that? You can add some salt to it. Your KH may be 0, but KH, no, your KH is not 0. Your GH is 0. Your KH is going to be higher than that, or it won't stay at 7.5 to 8.0. But your GH it could be. It's unusual, but it does happen. You can also have a very low pH water with a high GH. That's unusual too because typically GH and KH kind of go hand in hand, but they are different and they don't always. Just started a tank. Only use the materials on local landscaping from outside. Anything I should add to my 55? Don't know what you got, but you certainly can get everything you need. I buy most everything from a hardware store like Lowe's or Garden Supply. I love garden supply stores. Landscaping would have everything you need. Hitter quitter. Needs a wrench. We're getting no close to 200. Where are we? We're about into the first hour. Bred Paris Frominus species and Ivancare I Idacota Idokita. pH down to around 4. Wow. Even mosses and ferns give up. Yeah, most plants will. Tanini and Eriocolin. Wow. Orchimus Knox. We need to get you in our Discord. You obviously know a whole lot more about this stuff than I do. And I would like to learn from you and learn what you're doing and get a better sense of it. I've fiddled around. It sounds like you've been successful with low pH. I have not. I have a friend, Andres Ryan at Bioaquatics in Florida, who does low pH and he breeds a lot of low pH. If you don't know him, I'll make sure you got the link. Somebody you need to meet. He's learned how to get pH down that low and keep it there. Presumably you have as well. Liquid limestone. Yeah, I've been I've always lived over limestone. True enough. Robin Beasley lost 2 of my 3 male epistos, but 2 females are looking gravid. Did the one male kill the other? They do chase each other. I've got 3 in here, but it's a long enough that here's the rule: the chase only goes a certain distance. In this tank, the chase for these fish is going to be about 18 inches. At 18 inches, they stop chasing. So the territory is like an 18-inch territory, which means this tank is big enough almost for 3 territories. So they don't kill each other. In a smaller tank, the aggression would be continuous. It's not in this tank because it's a bigger tank. Susan, hello, Susan. Happy to see you. Delighted to have you with us. And God bless you and enjoy the youth service this evening. You'll be leaving shortly, I expect. Nice to see you. Jerome, is it? Or Jereme Wilson. Let me get you. That's odd. There we go. Get you a wrench. Well, failure is the key to success. Or Seamus. Without failure, there is no success. There is only luck. And you can't build anything on luck. You may luck out and get it right first time you try, but I defy you to do it the second time in a row and achieve the same result unless you know what got you there and precisely how you got there. You're not going to be able to duplicate your efforts. Justin Herbert, Aqua Garden Zen, Durfson, spent 2 hours hand feeding bloodworms to a cluster of female puppies. My goodness. You have a lot of babies for long nights. Andrew Foley, it's Meet My Family. I'm going to give you a wrench, Andrew. It's okay to add calcium carbonate to my spring water in order to maintain pH. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sketty Nona. Hello, Sketty. That was fun being with Lee yesterday. I happened to notice that he was live. Jumped on to say hello. He invited me up and we chatted for a good while. It was really great fun. Madaka Madness. Hello, hello. Got you a wrench, Madaka. Calcium carbonate will raise KH. It'll also raise pH. I mean, yeah, it raises KH, right. Exactly. That's what we want to do. Want to raise a KH that stabilizes pH. KH, GH, pH. What's the relationship between pH, KH, and GH? You get that one straight, you know what you're doing. I appreciate your info. Been a subscriber for 6 months. Pyrolatry. Pyrolatry. Having to do with firemaker. Interesting. Sabello. What's the topic about today? Well, we kind of got into it a little bit. It's about how it's not always a good idea to treat your fish like people or like people or even like mammals, like dogs or cats, because they're so unique that you can do that and kill them in the process. You can kill them with kindness because they don't require the kind of resources or environment that and I think what brought me to the point of feeling as though I need to deal with this is the Betta fanatics who are absolutely convinced in their heart of hearts that it is cruel and inhumane, unethical to put a Betta in anything smaller than a 5, 10, or 20-gallon tank. And you can grade these people by the minimum size tank they'll accept. There are those who will not accept anything smaller than a 20-gallon tank for a Betta. And I put it to you that they have never had more than 2 Bettas in their life. Not veil-tail male Bettas, because you can't put 2 together in any size tank. And if you've got more than 2 20-gallon tanks, you're starting to push it. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 tanks, 6, 7. 7 tanks set up, 5 of which I have Bettas in. And I've got just enough that I can spread them out so they do all right. But if I start getting more, they're going to have to start going in jars or in small bowls because I'm not going to have space for them. So far, they're doing okay. I did have an instance of a Betta that was grown out in a very small bowl, and it was a stupendous Betta. I spent $50 on it and bought it at the Keystone Clash. 5 colors, 5 colors in this Betta. It lasted 2 days in a 15-gallon tank. It completely freaked out in that tank, killed itself, could not handle being in a large environment. So the issue is not, is a 20-gallon tank good or not good? It's fine if the fish will survive in it and do well. But it is not a requirement. Bettas are raised on farms literally by the millions. The millions. A typical Betta farm in Thailand will contain upwards of 10,000 soda bottles, all stacked alongside each other in an earthen berm, and they are fed by children walking on the jars, touring containers containing uh, um, what am I thinking? Ah, Gad, that's funny. Moena, Daphnia, thank you. Containing Daphnia, pouring them into the tanks. They do that 4 days in a row or 5 days in a row, and then they go back on the sixth day and they upend the jar one at a time. No, they do. They some did it that way. That's not the way they do it. They stick. They have a larger container of water. They put a tube down in the jar and open it so it flushes it out without flushing out the fish. So they do a water change in that jar, in that soda bottle, roughly once a week. Feed them every day, water change once a week. And it's a systematic method. They're doing it continuously. It's unending. They do this with 1, 2, 3 children who are just going up and down all day long. That's how many bottles they have. That's how many fish they're raising. And then when they harvest, they dump the bottle in a net, separate them out into bags, and ship them. The bags are little tiny things like not much bigger than the fish itself. That's the first 4 months minimum of that fish's life, from baby all the way to maturity, to essentially full grown. They're actually about half grown at that point in time. Ship them out. They then spend upwards of a month in that little bag. No food, no air, no nothing. A month in that little bag. Now, they don't all spend a month in it. It may be a week, 2 weeks, but it can run a month. They will live in there for a month or longer. They then arrive finally at a wholesaler who cuts the bag open, dumps the fish in a smaller jar, or typically a smaller bag, like a 2-inch bag, 4 inches tall, dumps them in the bag, and the bags get tied off and they get shipped out. They've got a shipment of 10,000 in a week. Seagrass Farms. They have a truck, a panel truck that comes in with 10,000 bettas in it once a week. They get dumped out. They cut the bags open, dump them in these little 2-inch bags with a drop of water. Usually they use a baster, squirt half a baster of water, seal them up on a sealer, and ship them back out again. They don't feed them. They're in and out, ka-chung. They wind up at a pet shop where they're stuck in a jar, a little tiny jar like that. It's the biggest environment they've been in their life, virtually. Rarely are they fed, sometimes, more commonly they're not. They have been starving now for upwards of a month. They're in pretty rough shape, but still hardy enough to be attractive. A good pet shop will take them in, put them in a larger container, start feeding them, get them healthy, and then set them up in individual containers, usually 1 quart containers. I had 1 gallon containers. I had a string of plastic tanks that were all sectioned off in 1 gallon sections. I had like 50 of them, so I could keep 50 bettas at a time, male bettas. Females, I kept all together. And I would feed them. Typically bloodworm, daphnia, brine shrimp, whatever I was feeding at the time. Get them beefed up. And typically I would take the nicest one, put them in a 5 gallon tank, get them to blowing a nest, put a female in with them that had also been beefed up, spawn them, and then begin raising the young. I did that pretty routinely, to the point where I didn't buy new fish frequently. If I got down to a few, I would buy another 25 to 50. There was one point, I had a woman working with me. She spent an entire day going through thousands of bettas and selected out the 100 best. So I had 100 fish. They were magnificent, utterly magnificent. I did a series of pictures on them that I think is lost. Sold them at premium. They did really quite well. But those I had to keep in jars. We got the little bell jars, whatever they are, the little fluted jars, 1 gallon jars, and we kept them in that. Had them strung out all over the shop. That's the life of a betta, and it's if you keep it clean and healthy, a little dirt and substrate with some plants, and they'll be in heaven. They do extremely well in small containers, so long as they're kept healthy. I mean, if you're going to pollute it, put a bunch of dry food in there every day, never clean it, never don't have anything that allows for the organics to cycle, then it's going to get foul and kill the fish. It just will. Let me say something about this. The diseases that occur in fish tanks are virtually non existent in the wild. Let me say that again. The diseases that are commonly found in aquariums are nearly impossible to find in natural environments. Take that on faith. But you can get out there and look for it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It is a simple matter to foul water. All you got to do is keep throwing organics in it. Just plain water. Just keep throwing them in, and it'll foul. In a natural environment, that environment has built itself up to the point where it can handle the routine organics that go into it. Now, there may come a time through temperature or some other condition that causes a mass die off of plant material, for example. And that may well cause an explosion in bacteria, which will spill over and begin infecting fish. I have seen that happen where a pond or a creek or not moving water, still water, becomes foul because something has deteriorated in it that the system was not capable of handling. It got overwhelmed. You go back to that same system 1 week later, and it is pristine. It has developed the ability to compensate for that, to control it, to bring itself back to a stable environment. Same thing's true in a tank. If you have a tank go foul, take the fish out of it and leave it alone. If it is a decent tank with a decent substrate, leave it alone. It will straighten itself out in a week. You can do a partial water change if it's particularly foul, but you don't need to. It'll straighten itself out in a week, and it'll be pristine in a week. The conditions that caused the problem have been dealt with, and it's been brought back into balance. That's the way it works. It's the way the system works. You don't have to go crazy and dump everything out and start all over again. Leave it alone and let it work its magic. Let it be a healthy environment. A healthy environment will always return to a healthy condition. That's probably the biggest lesson I can teach. Where are we? 7:15. Got plenty of time. Erie's making you hungry. Who's this? Tim New High. Tim New High needs a wrench. And he says, close down. 5 tanks this year. I got tired of constant water changes and sick fish. Gonna set them up again. This time dirty. Well, good for you, Tim. It's not Tim New High. It's Tim New saying, hi, Father Fish. Excellent. Excellent. You got it. Stan says you won't be disappointed. Guaranteed. Ryan Oaks. Almost 100,000 subscribers. Congrats, much deserved. Thank you. We're going to be there. We're going to be there in about 2 weeks. When the Sunday that we hit 100,000, we're gonna have a party. We're going to bring people up. We're going to give away gifts. We're going to have a bang up bash of a time. I need to get some help here. But we'll try to get a gang on here. That'll be great fun. Pyrology. What's your opinion on floating plants such as salvinia, frogbit? Um, I just don't like the way they block light into the tank. I think they're for ponds. They're perfect. I have a lot of frogbit and salvinia in my outdoor pool, my tubs. I do a lot of tubbing. I've got about, I don't know, 6, 8, almost 2 dozen tubs. Do I go fishing? No. More's the pity. And I love fishing, and I just don't get to it. And I need to. I got all this. I keep going into Walmart and buying fishing equipment. I got all kind of fishing. I even buy bait, but I never go fishing. I just don't get myself together to do it. I'm so tied up. I don't like this evening. It'll be too late. In the morning, I'm typically running orders. I'm tied up doing other things. And when I do have a day off, I tend to sleep. I could go to Ocean City and fish in Ocean City, and now would be a perfect time to do it. I could get some nice fish and bring them back and enjoy cooking them and eating them. And I keep saying I need to do it, and I don't. I need somebody to urge me on. Why do betta and gourami eggs keep dying off and disappearing 2 to 3 days after successful spawning? Well, a couple of possibilities, Cam. It's possible they're not fertile. You may have a male that's shooting blanks. It's also possible that you have a bacterial problem in the tank or a fungal problem that's attacking the eggs and killing them. Those would be the main reasons. Could be temperature preventing them from maturing quickly enough, and so they die because they use up their egg yolk before they get mature enough to hatch. Several possible reasons. I would kick the temperature up to 82. Put a drop of methylene blue in if you feel like there's an issue with that. Remove the eggs and put them in a sterile environment. Put them in a hospital tank with a drop or two of methylene blue, or better yet, aquaflavin. If you can get aquaflavin, it's a yellow dye. Really, really good on fungus and bacteria. Don't need a lot of it, a few drops. And then you can run a little airstone in it. Once they hatch, it's 2 to 3 days before they're swimming. So don't try to feed them until they're swimming because you'll just foul the water. Try some different things to overcome that. Try removing the eggs. That's the first thing to try. Uh, Try getting a different male. See if that's the issue. It's probably not. It's probably the tank. You may simply need to remove them or breed them in a different tank, something along those lines. Straight out of Cornwall. What are you talking about? Retired mafia hitman. They found me out again. I think I had a tie on last week. I I don't have any ties. I have two ties. One was a gift and one I bought. I lived in Florida for 30 years. And after the first year, I didn't wear a tie for 25 years. Did not wear a tie one time in 25 years. So they sort of disappeared. I had some pretty cool ties. They're all gone. I need to now build a new tie collection. Funny stuff. Chevalier of whatever. Give you a wrench. Oh, I already did. Buddy Primer. How do you get a wrench? Normally, you don't need to ask, but normally we don't have 180 people in the chat. So you now have a wrench. It's up to YouTube as to how long it takes them to give it to you. Duck, what's your number one beginner plant? Good question. Vallisneria. Vallisneria, number one beginner plant. Or corkscrew valve would do. Jungle valve, any of the valves. I also like the dwarf swords. They're neat, and the chain swords. They do pretty well. My name is Mud. Used to be Mark Raymond. Oh, hello, Mark. Do you remember you? Yeah, you go way back. Way back. Susan was here earlier. Susan goes all the way back. Susan was among the first 100 subscribers. Might have been among the first 25 early on. She'd been with us a long time from the beginning. Somebody, KG Tropicals don't know how to keep fish unless the water says, well, they're not alone. They're not alone. And he prefers to do it that way. You know, his choice, his fish, his tank's his choice. Linda Snow set up a new native. Is that native or natural? I gotta read it. Natural aquarium. Love it. I have white stuff on my driftwood. Is that okay? Yes, it is. That white stuff is fungus. It is highly edible. Many fish will eat it, and invertebrates like snails will eat it. It is converting some of the nutrients from the wood into a more desirable material that is edible. So it's highly desirable. Not in any way is it problematic. We remember Mark, his name's Mud. Right. Mud says, I pride knowing how many people I've turned on to this channel. Let me say something. Uh, I've I've been faced recently with something that was only intermittent up to this point. I'm getting trolls, and not just one occasionally. There are troll every time, and I do this 2 to 3 times a day. I go in and go through all the comments. Many of them I don't comment on, but I always will click thumbs up and heart. I always do that, unless it's a troll. Now, here's how I define troll. A troll is somebody who is simply engaged in trying to make themselves look big and me look little, saying I'm stupid, ignorant, don't know what I'm talking about, a complete twit, on and on and on and on. When I see that kind of thing, I know I'm dealing with somebody who I can't talk to. They are not open to conversation. They are open to assault and to plunder. They are trying to make themselves look big by making someone else look small. And if they can take down somebody who's big, then that makes them feel bigger. So what do I do with that? Without any malice or of forethought, without any serious consideration, I block them from the channel. I just block them. It's clear to me that they have no interest in having a conversation. They do not have a position that they want to argue with me about. They simply want to try to make me look stupid. And so I just block them. I just put them out of their misery or out of my misery, more to the point. I don't try to deal with them. I used to do it. I don't do it anymore. It wasn't worth it. It didn't get me anywhere. They don't change. They stay on that one drum. They just want to beat me down. And it's my channel. And I choose not to be beat down on my own channel Go create your own channel. You can beat me to death on your own channel. That's fine. Maybe you'll get 1 million subscribers by doing it. But you ain't going to get away with it on mine. Not if I catch you at it. I may not catch you at it. I don't catch it all, but I get a lot of it. So, anyway, if you're looking for some of that kind of stuff, now, if somebody has a serious concern and they say, this is wrong, you're doing it the wrong way. If I can see that they're really trying to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and not just telling me I'm an idiot, then I will engage in conversation. But I choose not to be assaulted. I'm simply not going to do it. I'm not going to allow it to stand. You do it to me, you get banned. You just don't get to come back. You can come back as somebody else and try it again. Likely the same thing will happen. I'm just not going to tolerate it. I will be as open-minded as I can be. I will entertain people who have opposite opinions, so long as it's discursive, conversational, and not a personal attack. I don't attack personally. I don't I don't take to being attacked personally. I don't tolerate it in myself or in others. So having said that, we're moving on. Is that a no filter tank? No. I have 2 sponge filters, one at each end. When's the book coming out? We're working on it. It's getting bigger and better by the minute. Every time we get somebody new working on it, they bring something to it that we never thought of before that's magnificent. Our goal at this point is to have it finished by by April. But the leaf module, the leaf oh boy, the leaf module, we should have that ready in another month. That's pretty close. Boy, it got gas. And it just ain't going away. Usaho. Malieve. Love replaying old video. Get new information each time to digest. Was wondering if you can do a father fish video dedicated to tannin and decomposing in your living aquarium. Also, how to make custom lids. Um, Here's where I'm at currently with lids. Find a used appliance dealer and buy refrigerator shelves from them, as many different sizes and kinds as you can afford to buy, and stockpile them. They are tempered, they are filed smooth, they will not cut you, they will not break easily. If they do, they will not create shards. They will tolerate heat, and they will fit on most tanks, one or two. I've got one on here looking for another that'll cover this completely. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's what I recommend for shelving. As to tannins and decomposition, yeah, let me work on this a bit. We're actually working on it in the book. We're going to be doing a fair amount with it because that's what the substrate's all about, is decomposition. Tannins is another issue, and we'll be covering that some with the leaf module. So we do have some things coming out to be able to deal with those issues. Can I use tap water with not using tap water remover? I assume you're talking about chlorine remover. Yeah, you can if it's just chlorine, not chloramine. And if you don't know, call the water company and ask them. If it's chloramine, you need chemicals. Vitamin C will do it. You can use vitamin C, 1,000 unit tablet per 20 gallons will break the molecule and get rid of the chlorine. The ammonia then will be absorbed by plants. So you always want to plant your tank immediately. Plant it the same day you put the soil and sand and water in. You plant it same day. That gets rid of the ammonia immediately. If you just have chlorine and you let it sit for a day, or if you're running it through a hose and have a spray adjuster on it, adjust it to spray and spray the water in the tank. That will release the chlorine as the water goes in the tank. Pretty slick system. Works brilliantly. Forget the ties of Miss Your Beard. I don't, curiously. Funny thing. I didn't want to get rid of the mustache, and I'm not sure why. I kept the mustache. But I don't miss the beard. Let's see. Joe D. Never thought I'd be out in my yard grabbing mud and dead leaves from my tank. You go, Joe. Nice. And be happy doing it. Gonna be my personal bodyguard, says Harry. You're on, Harry. Z Ninja Tron Gamer. Z Ninja Tron Gamer. You've inspired my beard XD. We need pictures. Born again farm girl. Very handsome. You're a sweetie. Born again farm girl. Roxy Reed. Thank you, Father Rich, for the lesson about chlorine. Didn't know that. Jesus is the Lord. We need to give you a wrench. Whoops. And I need to translate here. All right. Hello from Lima. Some of your videos. Love the concepts. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see what I can do here. Peru. Translate. Detect language. Hello, Father Fish. Greeting from Lima, Peru. Always watch his videos and the concepts he teaches for this beautiful hobby help me a lot. Let me get back to you. And I'm going to post your translation, and I'm going to do a thank you. Very good. Looks like I have spelling errors. I cannot spell worth 2 nickels, honestly. Well, I just lost the channel. How did I do that? I don't even know. It's not the first time I've done it. I go blank screen. And I don't know why or how it's happening. I am blank screen. Honestly. Totally blank screen. I'm hitting something. I don't know what it's doing. Control Alt Delete. Task Manager. Google Chrome. End task. Let's see if that'll help. Probably not. Well, yeah, sort of. Amazing. I got all the way back to the beginning. And then all the way to the bottom. Whoops. What happened? There we go. Yeah. There it is. Okay. Wade Patterson. What's your advice on desalinated seawater? My advice on desalinated seawater. I don't have any advice on desalinated seawater. If it's desalinated, it should function as fresh water. So beyond that, I don't know anything about it. Paulo Enrique Texiera to tentar vitor mas não se consigo so a minuto. And I can't read that. All right, gotta do it again here. I'm gonna mess up again, guaranteed. Copy. Try it again. Translate. Gonna try Vitor, but I don't know if I can. Just a minute. Vitor. Don't know what Vitor. Who is this? I hate all chemicals. Who is it? Got all my water, so I went outside of the pond to work, collected my water, 2 gallons of water at a time, 500-foot trip to get water for 55 gallons. That's dedication, isn't it? Add as moderator, standard moderator, save. And you just don't have a name, that's all that is. That's curious. Is it important to put both the filter and oxygen? Or is one of them enough? If you have a filter, you're moving water. Moving water causes CO2. It causes the water to come in contact with the surface. At the surface, CO2 is flipped off and O2 is dissolved, is taken in. So that's where oxygen gets into the water at the surface. A filter will cause all of the water eventually to come in contact with the surface. So it allows that to happen. There's really no other way to get oxygen in the water. I mean, I suppose you could oxygenate it with an oxygen tank, but there's really no point to or necessity in doing that. I just saw one of my little spotted plecos. sitting on a rock. The minute I looked at him, he scooted away. Well, I know one's left. I think they're both there. They just hide all the time. Yep, filters that oxygen by breaking surface tension. Wild Bill just set up my tank with 3 cloud minnows. Fed a pea yesterday. A couple days later, I'll give them spirulina. Cloud minnows. Try building a food web for them. That'll provide more of the native food that they're used to eating. The microfauna. Pea puffers. Pea puffers are not hard to keep. They're just hard to keep. They don't last real long. I've had them many, many times. They're really a brackish water fish, and they need to be kept in a brackish tank. I think if you do that, you'll be able to get them growing and thriving and do well. I really ought to get some and put them in my brackish tank and see how they do. I did get a few more killies last week for my or pupfish rather, from 2 female pupfish, and I needed females, so I'm hoping now I'm going to get a spawn. Probably won't be till the spring. Can your plant be shipped to Quebec? No, but we have a Canada supplier who will be able to help you. Um, if you come over to Discord, I will have a website up shortly that will also have all this information on it. The website is fatherfish.fish. Fatherfish.fish. It's up, kind of halfway operational. It's getting there. It's going to be glorious. And will contain all of my friends who are trying to make a living selling fish. So I'm going to support as much as I can. Well, WTF, I suggest if you're gonna go anywhere, you need to change your title because it is an obscenity. And it's not good to have an obscenity as a name. Tell you what, I'm not going to give you a wrench until you change it because I'm personally offended by it. And I think you ought to be too. And I think you really ought to have better sense. I mean, it ain't smart. It's dumb. Don't do it. It just makes you look bad. And you don't need to look bad. You're 34, hope to be an expert. I hope you are too. And you can go a long way by getting straight about how you identify yourself. Think well of yourself. Sabello didn't like what Sabello said about Sabello. Paulo talking about Vitor. There's Vitor. Gotta give Vitor a wrench. Interesting. Porcimus. Devices use hydrogen peroxide as a catalyst and a catalyst. It's mainly used for oxygenating ponds in certain scenarios, sometimes in aquarium. It tends to be pretty highly toxic. It does not take much excess oxygen to burn gill structure. It oxygen oxidizes, and in at a high level which is easily achievable with H2O2 because it instantly releases a free oxygen molecule. Um, if you put too much in, and it doesn't take much, it'll burn the gills on the fish. It is used as a uh, as an antibacterial. It's used to purge ponds. It has application, but you really have to know what you're doing to use it properly. I've tried it uh, with kind of 50-50 success. I used it in saltwater when I had saltwater problems. And it would work one time and not work the next. Um, I just never got the dosage right. There also are different strengths you can buy. The drugstore strength is nothing like the commercial grade strength. Is mesquite wood or any other wood from the backyard safe? Yes, so long as it's completely dried out. You might soak it in a bucket or a barrel or something outside first to get it sunk. That will also allow anything that needs to leach out to do so. It's not a good idea to collect stuff out of the woods and just throw it in the tank. If you know what you're looking for, if it's well dried, it'll chances are it'll be fine. But you can be fooled. You can think something is well dried out and it's not because it's thick enough to be harboring sap. And if you put that in the tank, you're going to wind up with a foul tank dead fish. So your best bet with anything that you come across in the wild is soak it first. Now, if you're getting it out of a body of water and it's sunk, you're good to go. That'll work 100% of the time. G. Platt, Robin says your hard water is why your apistos are struggling. That may well be. Maybe in my case as well. I did have them spawn, and I've got a strong spawn of about 30 babies that are now nearly full grown in my 29. I need to start pulling females out and pair them up. But I do have very hard water, and it would be good to get it down to like 7.0 for uh, some of these pygmy cichlids I like so much. Siamese algae eaters do hide. They do indeed. They're probably fine. They'll come out. They will get more brave as they realize there's nothing there for them to be afraid of or that's going to go after them. So don't worry about it too much. Zombie Unicorn gotta go. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for another great live stream. You're very welcome. Oh, we've hung up there. We're at 174. Just hung in real well. How many thumbs up have we got? 178. Pretty good. Pretty good. 79.80. What else? How often do I feed that fish tank? About every other day. Sometimes I'll feed it 2 days in a row. Yeah, I think you're right, Gary. I think popularity equates with trolls. A compliment. Yeah, sort of. Ah, sort of. It goes with the territory. I've just developed a system for dealing with it. And I think Joey does that. I think that he deals with it the same way. He just cuts it off at the knees. And it seems to me that's an appropriate way to deal with it. Who's this? The white shark, 5 pounds from Cornwall. Shout out to the friendly folks on the Fatherfish Discord. What is your personal general method for treating a sick fish? Put it in the hospital tank, put a little salt in the water, and observe it. Raise the temperature a little bit if need be. Depends what the problem is. If it's a parasite, it's treated one way. Bacteria gets treated another. Generally, getting the fish out of the tank into a sterile hospital tank and then treating with a small amount of salt and going from there. That's step one. Step one and two and three, maybe. Day two, I'll do something else. YFI is member for 3 months. Yes. Let's say Robin Beasley, a brown water tank, but still have hard water, 8.0. Assume it's because I top off with tap. Should I put leaves in the conditioned tap water? You can do that. It may or may not drop the pH. You may simply have so much carbonate in there that nothing is going to defeat it. What you might do if you really want to get it down is start topping off with rainwater, RO water, spring water, like that. Girth is everything, says Erie. I see. Brandon, how long is too long to isolate a fish in a hospital tank? 3-year-old Corey has finally started swimming better after 8 weeks. He's healthy and eating. How long is too long? Well, until you want to put him back. I mean, if you're feeding him, it's no longer a hospital tank. Hospital tank would be sterile. And if you're putting food in there, it's not sterile. So I assume you have a sponge filter or some other kind of filter in there. Um, but if he's looking good, put him back. Egyptian mouthbitters, mercy. They love the planet tank, want to get them back in circulation. They are hard to find. I saw some recently. I don't remember where. I think they were at the Keystone Clash. And I did not get them. I almost did. And then kind of backed out at the last minute. But you're right. They're real hard to find. And they are a super cool fish. Really, really neat fish. Roxy, nice to have you with us. Ashanti, yes, it is an opportune time. There are a lot of new leaves now. The next couple of months will be a perfect time to collect. And then, of course, in the spring is ideal. Ryan wants a wrench. Having trouble here. I don't know why. Ryan Oaks. Ryan, you got one. You already got it. Change your chat settings. Too many people have control and can add videos to your playlist. Oh, really? Oh, really? I had no idea. Change to what? I don't know. Priority. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to do that. What are my chat settings? Chat settings. I'm gonna have to look at that. Huh. So I guess anybody who's a monitor can add a video to my playlist. That's interesting. Huh. All right, I'll look into that. Well, so long as he's eating, Ralph, you can leave him in as long as you want to until you feel comfortable about moving him. Live on an estuary. Natural materials are easy to find. A white shark. Let's get white shark a wrench. All the names in blue. Really? So I can change that? Wade Wiggins. I don't know anybody who's ever done it. But I guess if that's true, somebody could go crazy with it. Post all kind of stuff that could get me in big trouble, I guess. So, all right. As soon as I get off, which is going to be in a minute or two, I'm going to go look at that. What all does the wrench do? Yeah, I think that's all it. That well, it obviously does more than that. That guy who has fish. I may have to delete all the wrenches. Wouldn't that be terrible? Gotta say, so I wouldn't know how to do that. Good ethics as a cybersecurity analyst. You need to explain to me how to do that, Parology. Ultimus Maximus. Acorns from oak trees are okay in the tank. Yeah, but you don't want to do a lot of them because they have living material in them that will uh, foul the water. So dry acorns are preferable. All right, I think we're good to go here. And I will look into this pyrology. Appreciate the heads up. I did rent a warehouse, so I'm going to be moving by next weekend, moving my operation into a warehouse, which means I will be doing some streaming and videos from the warehouse. So you'll get to see some of that. We'll have our pack out station there, and it'll just be a lot more convenient. But that starts next week. So bless you all. Love you all. And all together now. Bye for now.